We're just here to answer all your math questions. If you have, appreciate it, Natalie. P underscore 429. Appreciate it. Uh, if you want me to talk about anything related to math, just comment it below. And we're gonna start soon. Just waiting for some people to roll in. Let's see. Shout out to Callie Buck. Is it Buckshanan? Buckshanan. Linda's 06140. I'm kind of struggling with probability, but I understand it now. Okay, life changing. Principal angle and reference angle. Do you have a question specific? Because it would probably be easier for me to know what you were saying. Oh, you mean quadratic equation, Natalie? We could talk about quadratic equation and graphing them. Okay. We can look at that in a little bit. Yeah, we can look at quadratic equation. Let me write it on here. Are you using a graphing calculator to do that? Quadratic equation. Quadratic. It's not that bad. You could. All right, I'll show you how to find 3 points and be able to graph them using those 3 points. Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. I might have to find some example. Let's see who we have here live on YouTube. If you have a question, for those who are on YouTube, if you have a question, you can ask it too, and then I'll put it on the board, and then we can help you guys solve it. All right. Who else? Okay. We can look at quadratic equation for a little bit. Let's see. Let me flip the camera and go back to the board. Hey, hello. I see 5. You guys see a bunch of markers on the floor? All right, let's see if I can flip the camera and go to the board. Hold up. Yeah, I think this should do it. All right. For those on YouTube, I know this is messed up because you guys are getting your stuff backwards, but bear with me. Let's see if I can wipe the lenses. All right. That looks a lot cleaner. If you guys can hear me, yes, I can do calculus too, but you have to send me the question because it will be easier. All right, so quadratic equation. So, all right, let me see if I can do some quadratic equation stuff. Let me find a nice looking equation. All right. So let's see. X squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. F of x is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, so this is considered a quadratic equation. So there's multiple ways to solve for the unknown for the quadratic equation. You can use the quadratic formula. So the one that has b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. You can use that one. But the easiest way here in this case is, okay, because I already know x squared minus 5x plus 6. So what I'm looking for two numbers. When I add them together, I get -5. So two numbers, when I add them together, I get -5. And when I multiply them together, I get 6. So let's start on the 6 side. So what are the multiples of 6? What are two numbers that can multiply into 6? So if I multiply let's say 1 times 6, give me 6. 2 times 3, give me 6. Those are the only combinations. So, 1 times 6 and 6 times 1 is the same thing. 2 times 3 and 3 times 2 is the same thing. Out of those, which one of them, when I add them together, I get -5. So, if I add a negative 1, if I have -2 plus -3, that gives me -5, right? So yeah. And then they both have to be the same side because you multiply -2 times -3 and you would get 6. So I found the two numbers. When I add them together, I get, let me find my eraser. When I add those numbers together, I get a -5. And then when I multiply them, I get 6. All right, let me see if you guys understand. Let me see if you got any questions. You understand what I'm saying? How to find the roots of the quadratic? Let's see. MX plus TB. Thank you. Zil, SimC. All right. So do you guys have any questions so far about what I just did? About adding. Okay, you understand? Natalie says she understand. Perito Sage, you understand as well. 718. Yes, sir. Okay, you guys understand. So, okay. So now, here's what we're going to do. If we're going to graph this, so what we want to know is what's the shape of when you have so before I do this, so this is equivalent to, all right, so the roots of those. So when I say roots, the numbers, when I plug them inside this equation, that makes this equation equal to 0 are -2 and then -3. Okay, so now we have the roots. So let's say we wanted to graph this. So if we were to solve for this, if we solve it for this equal to 0, so that I say if I solve for x plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0, I'm going to get 1x is equal to -2, 1x is equal to -3. And you can verify to -2 squared, that gives me 4. -5 times -2, that gives me 10, minus 4, and then plus 6. What is that? -5 times -2. Is it 2 and 3? Let's see. -2 squared. Am I supposed to be saying 2 and 3? 2. 3 squared is 9. 5 times 3 minus 15 plus, 2 and 3. Not -2, -3. 2. So the roots are 2 and 3. So these are the two things. When I plug them inside of this equation, that gives me, hold up. I'm trying to make sure I don't mess this up. 2 squared is 4, minus 5 times 2 is minus 10 plus 6. Okay. 3 squared is 9, minus 5 times 3 is 15 plus 6. Right. 9 plus 6 is equal to 15, 15. Okay, so these are the two numbers. If I plug them inside of this equation, I get 0. So let's say I wanted to graph it. That's what a person asked. So let's say I wanted to graph this. So we know we have a parabola. So first of all, we go with the sign that's in front of the x squared. What sign is in front of the x squared? Can you tell me what sign is that? Is that a positive or negative sign? Let's see. Let's see who can say. The sign that's in front of the x squared. Is that a positive sign or a negative sign? Let's see. Anybody? So yeah, it's a positive sign. So that means there's the parabola shape. Is it open this way or is it that way? So which one is it? Which one is it? Is it the one on the left? The one on the left? Or is it the one on the right? So the shape of the parabola. So, the first thing we need to know is the shape. So, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to graph this if I don't know if it's going to open this way, because those are the only two ways the parabola open this way, like a U, open down, like the N. So which one of those is it? So let's see who can say which one it is. Someone said left. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you guys said left. Gabby said left. Everyone said left. So yeah. So and then the other way to think about it too, if it has a negative, this looks like an N. That's open down. That's a clever way to think about it. If it has a positive, it just opens up. But okay, so open up. So that means the values are going to be increasingly positive. So let's say we have -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. I hope this is enough. 1, 2, 3. I hope this is big enough to graph this. Okay, so let's say we wanted to graph this. So we already know that there were 2 points, the roots, that we already know the roots. So what does that mean we know the roots? So that means if I plug these into these equations, the value of f of x is going to be 0. So that means every time, so if I plug 2 inside of this equation, the value of x is equal to 0, which is the same thing as saying when x is equal to 2, f of x is equal to 0. Same thing always as saying when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 0. The y and f of x are the same thing. So we have the point 2, 0. Right? Correct? So what is the other point? 3. This is 3 is a root. How do I know it's a root? Because I set this equal to 0. The answers were 2 and 3. So that means when x is equal to 3, f of x is equal to 0. When x is equal to 3, that means y is equal to 0. So what's the other point that I'm looking for? Can you tell me the other point? I told you guys the first point is 2, 0, 2, 0. What's the other point? Let me see who got it. The other point. Let's see. Okay, let's see who got the other point. Thank you. Thank you, Darneezy. So, yeah, I got the point 2, 0, sick rainbow. I already have this point. What's the other point? What's the other point? The point 2, 0 is already right here. Let me write it in a different, mark it in a different color for you. My markers are gone, bro. I think I let them dry. Let's see. So yeah, while I'm struggling to find a marker, you guys can find it. So the first point I know is 2, 0. What's the second point? Let's see. None of them works. This is terrible. All right, this blue one work. Okay, good. I have a blue and a red one. All right, I think this should do it. So what's the other point? Let's see who got it. I'm gonna shout you out. No, not 2, 1. That's not the other point. That's not the other point I'm saying. What is the other point? So okay, let me go back. So let me go back. 2, 2. No, let me go back. Okay, let me explain this again. Let me erase this and explain this. So hear me out. So when I had this equation, and it's easy. I just want to make sure you guys understand. It's okay. I had this equation, and they asked me to graph this equation. It's a quadratic equation. If I want to graph it, I want points. There were 3 points that are like always easy to find when you try to graph a quadratic equation. The first 2 are the two x-intercept, which is also, they call them the roots. So what you do, you set this guy is equal to 0. So you said x squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So what we found, 2 numbers, when I add them together, I get -5. I get -5, and when I multiply them, I get 6. So those 2 numbers, when I add them together, so those 2 factors with x minus 2, x minus 3, if I was factoring this out. So that means 2 and 3 are roots, right, of this equation. So that means if I plug 2 inside of this equation, I should get 0. So that means the first point is x is equal to 2 f of x is equal to 0. So when x is equal to 2, f of x is equal to 0. So that means when x is equal to 2, y is equal to 0. So that's the same thing. So 2, 0. That's one of the points that I'm looking for. The second point that I'm looking for is 3. So 3 is another root. So that means when I plug 3 inside of this equation, if you try it, 3 squared is 9. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 6, 9 minus 15 plus 6 is 0. So that means when x is equal to 3, what's the value of y? 0. The second point that I'm looking for is, come on guys, it's easier than that. Come on, let me see who got it first. I'm gonna shout you out. I'm gonna give you a shout out if you get it. Yeah, 3 0. That's what I'm talking about. Peridot 718. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's the second point. I haven't been Sake Rainbow, that's right. Gabby _ S, that's right. Peridot, that's right. Natalie P429, that's right. 3 0. So that's the second point. So we found 2 points. Remember how this thing is shaped. It's shaped like this. We found 2 points. The point 3, 0. X is equal to 3, y is equal to 0. I wish I had made these longer, bigger. Let's say 3 was right here. 3 0. Okay, so that's the point 3 0. X is equal to 3, y is equal to 0. So you at 3, you don't go up, you don't go down. Okay, now we found these 2 points, right? We know it's shaped like this because this thing is positive. It's not an N, it's not a negative, like shaping like an N. This shapes like a U, positive. Okay, now, so that means it's gonna be something like that, right? Right? So now what we're left to find is the bottom point right here. So where the parabola, so like the lowest point in the parabola. So it shapes like this. We already find these two right here on the x-axis. What we need to find is the vertex, is that point right here, where the lowest point. So there's a trick. So if you do minus b divided by 2a, that should give you the x-axis of that point. So let's see what minus b divided by 2a here. So let's remember, whatever is in front of the x squared, we call it a. Whatever is in front of the x, we call it b. And whatever is left, we call it c, right? Minus b divided by 2a. Can anyone tell me what that would equal to? Let me see if we get it. I'm gonna give you a shout out. Minus b divided by 2a. So you are funny, Mullo the Phoenix. All right, so y'all missed the Q. 2.5. Okay, I want to see what minus b divided by 2a. So minus b divided by 2a. So what does that equal to? Somebody say 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Okay, let me see what that is. So minus b is 5 already, so that would be minus -5. B is -5. Divided by 2a. A is 1, because there's nothing in front of the x squared. 2 times 1. So that would be 2.5. 2.5. Does that really make sense? Yes, it does. Right there in the middle, that's where the vertex is. Because remember, the parabola is symmetric. So it's going to be 2.5. X is equal to 2.5. Now, what's the value of y? So that thing is going to be right there in the middle. Now I'm looking for the y value. So what's the value of y? Easy. You already found an x value. You just plug it inside of this equation. You find a y value. So now, how do you find a y value? You plug the 2.5 inside of here because you have the x already for it. So that would give you what? 2.5 squared minus 5 times 2.5 plus 6. Okay? So do it on the calculator. Let's see who has it first. Trying to get it done before me. 2.5 squared minus 5 times 2.5. Let me see if anyone has it before me. I'm going to give you a shout out. Let's see who has it before me. 2.5 squared. See if I can be your math teacher. Facts. Let's see. I learned this a while ago, but I can't stop watching because his voice is so satisfying. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. It's cold. Okay. All right. I would be my calculators. I lost my calculator. Oh man, that's not cool. All right, so I plug this in the calculator. I'll show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys on YouTube too. I plug this in the calculator. It's not magic. 2.5 squared minus 5 times 2.5 plus 6 is actually negative 2.5. Can y'all see the board on TikTok? Because I think I just make it blurry for y'all. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right, this is good. So yeah, on YouTube, I'll show y'all. It looks backward for you guys. I know. 7.9, not that, Mandy. 3.2, not that, not 9. Not that big number either. Yeah, so that gives me, when I plug it in the calculator, it gives me negative. So the y value is, that marker is working. The y value is negative 0.25. So like 1/4, 0.25. Negative 1/4, 25. Okay, so I know the x value already. It said it was 2.5, and that's the one that I plug in. 2.5. The y value is negative 0.25. So I know I'm at 2.5. I'm looking for a y value that's negative. It's less than negative 1. It's less than negative 0.5. It's actually negative 0.25, which is kind of like a quarter, a little bit. I mean, just like a quarter, not kind of like it's a quarter. So to graph this, all I have to do is do this. The person who asked, please let me know if you understand. And you do the same thing for any parabola that you have. So what you do is, okay, I know what shape is it going to look like. Is it going to look like an N, or is it going to look like a U? So if it's positive, it's a U. If it's negative, it's an N. So think about it. It's positive. Both of the the left side and the right side is going to continue to increase. If whatever is in front of the x squared is negative, it's going to continue to go down. So from there, you said, okay, I know what it's going to shape like because of the A. Now let me find if it intersects the x-axis. If I find out that it's intersect the x-axis, I'm good. That means I have 2 other points. If it doesn't too, that's fine. I mean, you can find 2 other points. You can find 2 other points arbitrarily. Now, once I found out that it's intersect the x-axis, I'm like, okay, I found these points that it intersect the x-axis. So I need to find a vertex. If it's in case it's shaped this way, like a U, that would be the lowest point. If in case it's it's a U shape, an N, that would be the highest point. So now I know I'm at a U. I need to find the lowest point. In any case, is the x value of that point is minus b divided by 2a, and that's the trig. That's probably the most important point because it's like in the middle of the parabola. So then minus b divided by 2a, I plugged that in inside of the function, and I found what I was looking for. Does that make sense? Tell me if that makes sense. And if you haven't seen this before too, just don't worry about it. Let's see. Whoever asked the question, let me see who asked the question about parabola. Who asked the question about parabola? I can only go that far back in the comments. All right, do you guys understand? Yes, sir. Okay, cool. Natalie, understand. Peridot 718, understand. What college did I go to? I went to Florida Gulf Coast University, FGCU. That's in Florida. That's one of the, I think they have 11 state schools in here. That's one of them. All right. So any other questions, guys? What trig ratio are you referring to? Because if you send me, it's easier for me to solve it if you send me the picture. Melanie, Melania. If you were to send me a picture, that's why I put out the videos before. If you send me a picture of anything before, I'll try and solve it when I get here. Okay, so what do you guys want me to talk about next? I have inequality, systems of equation, unit circle. We talk about quadratic first. So which one of those that you guys want me to talk about? Let's see what I have next. And anything else too, if you have something else that I can talk about. Thanks for helping, no problem, Natalie. Hey, you made it. Brian, I'm not that big in Brianna counts. Brianka. All right, cool. Let's see. What else you guys want me to talk about? Appreciate it. All right, so let's. Brianna. I know I messed up your name. So where's the cast come from? Can I do tangent? Okay, I can talk about tangent or something. Okay, so I don't know if you're referring to this. So I don't know if, are you referring to it in terms of like a trig, tangent, is equal to sine over cosine? Is that what you're referring to? Like tangent of an angle alpha is equal to sine alpha over cosine alpha? Or are you referring to this as a tangent? So this is a line that cuts in the circle, not cuts it, but tangent to a circle in that case. Let me see if I have any questions on YouTube. You just guessed, Maddie? No. Okay, so I don't have any questions on YouTube. Anybody on YouTube want to ask any questions? Let's see. Okay, let me see what else you have. The first one. Okay. All right, so we're gonna talk about tangent. So let's say you have a trig, a triangle. So we talked about this before, but I'll explain them again. So let's say you have a triangle this way. So in this triangle, you have an angle here, alpha. So if this is a right triangle, as this one is, let's assume this is a right triangle. So let's give them some name, A, B, C. So there are three trig functions that are the most common trig function. Three of them are the sine function, sine of alpha, cosine of alpha, and tangent of alpha. So from those come everything else. If you're talking about cosecant, cotangent, anything else that you can think of, they come from those. They're like derivative of those. So they derive them from those. So either the inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent, they derive them from those. So let's say there's a little mnemonic. Now we all probably know it. So ka to. So what is the first one saying? Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And when we're looking at those, this is the most important thing that to remember. When we're looking at those, when we're saying opposite in relation to this angle alpha. So the opposite side is here. If I had an angle here, opposite would be this side. So it's in relation to this angle alpha. Adjacent in relation to this angle alpha. So everything that we're doing is in relation to this angle alpha. So what would sine of alpha equal to? Let's see who can give me this. Sine of alpha. Let's see who got it. I'm gonna give you a shout out. Let's see. What's sine of alpha? Uh-oh. Anyone? All right, you guys on that? You guys, let me see if I can find the answer on YouTube. Yeah, opposite over hypotenuse. So what I'm saying is, what was it? The opposite side of this is BC. That's correct, but I wanted to specifically mention the opposite side is BC, so that means BC over what's the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of the triangle, AC. Okay, that's the sine of alpha. What's the cosine of alpha? Cosine of alpha is the adjacent side in relation to this angle divided by the hypotenuse. So what's the adjacent side to alpha? So what would cosine of alpha be equal to in terms of letters? So let's see. So AB over AC. Yes, AB over AC on YouTube. Your boy Chris. That's what's up. Let me see. Anybody? AB over AC. Yes, Maddie. Braps. Good. Madeline Ruse. Good. I underscore Amelia. That's good. I'm messing up y'all name. Y'all know. Okay, say yeah, that's good. AB over AC. And I'm coming to the person who asked about tangent, I'm coming to your question. So over AC. Now what's the tangent of alpha? So what would that equal to? Tangent of alpha. Let's see. So hey, what's up? Azentes. Your boy Chris, you said AB over BC. AB over BC. No. Yeah, Shelby, BC over AB. Shelby on YouTube, BC over AB. Let's see what y'all have. Lay. It's Linnea. Okay. See, I was missing it. Linnea. All right, cool. Linnea. I think I'll remember that for next time. I was missing your name. All right, you guys. What's the tangent? What's the tangent of alpha? TikTok. All right, you guys are just running now. It's funny. All right, cool. All right, so yeah. Shelby, you got it. So it's I think I just cut my feet with this chair. So it's the opposite side. So like Toa says, it's the opposite over adjacent. What's the opposite side of the angle alpha? Is this opposite over adjacent. So opposite side is BC divided by the adjacent side is AB. So yeah, opposite over adjacent. Now here's the trick. Tangent is also equal to tangent of alpha is also equal to sine of alpha divided by the cosine of alpha. And let's verify if that's true. So sine of alpha is this guy, so we'll think. The cosine of alpha is this one. So let's see what happened if I divide this whole thing by this. Okay, so I have BC over AC divided by AB over AC. So what do I get? So the top one is the red one. Top one in red, that's like the sign. So it's BC divided by AC. And then this whole thing, I'm dividing it by cosine of alpha, which is AB divided by AC. Let's see, AB. Let me use a different color. AB over AC. Now, what do I do when I have a fraction divided by another fraction? So let's say I have 1/2. Let's say I have 3/2 divided by 5/6. So what would that equal to? So you leave the first one the same way it is, and you multiply by the second one and the inverse of the second one. So that would give me 3/2 multiplied by 6/5. So I flip the second one. So I'm going to leave the first fraction the same way it is, BC over AC. BC over AC, multiply by the second one, but I'm going to flip the second one. I had AB over AC, I'm going to have AC over AB. AC over AB. Now, what does that leave us? What does that equal to? Can you tell me? Let me see who got it. What does that equal to for tangent of alpha? Let's see who got it. Who got the answer for tangent of alpha? Let's see who got the answer. So, say 1 second. You trying to solve it in your head? All right, so somebody say give me a second. Come on now, it's not that bad. Let's see if I get an answer on YouTube. All right. Your boy Chris say BC over AB. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because I really cut my leg on this chair. So yeah, because what happened is you have BC here, BC. No, what am I doing? AC. Sorry. Let BC stay how it is. There's no more BC. All right, so we had AC here and another AC here, so that cancels out. So what you're left with is BC over AB. Now, does that work out to what we had here? BC over AB, what did we say tangent of alpha is? BC over AB, which is the opposite side, BC, divided by the adjacent side, AB. So couture, same thing. So does that make sense? Let me know if you guys understand this. Does that make sense? And the person who asked the question specifically, let me know if that makes sense. And then what do you guys want to hear next? Let me see what YouTube says. He said Pythagorean trig identity. Okay. What do you Shelby, if you could be more specific. Are you saying like a Pythagorean I'm not sure if you're referring to Pythagorean theorem, or if you could be more specific, Shelby, I would try to answer you. All right, so let me see on okay. All right, so what else you guys want to hear next? I have inequality, which we did a little bit last time. System of equations. We're gonna do unit circle. What y'all want to hear next? Or if you have something else. I'm only in 8th grade and I understand. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you do, actually. SHLEECH. Not sure how to pronounce that. SM Slish. All right. Cool. All right, unit circle. Shakira Salman say unit circle. Okay, let's talk about it. All right. If you got something else you want me to talk about too, put it on there. We'll talk about it. All right, let's go on the unit circle. And it's similar concept. I wish I could live this. and then you'll see actually it's the same thing. So unit circle is kind of like the expanded version of the Pythagorean theorem. So, and the extended version of the triangle. So that's when you'll be able to really add some more trig stuff. So think about this. Let's say we say this is a circle. Let's assume this is a circle. So let's say this is the diameter of the circle. So let's say this is the x-axis. Right here, this is the x-axis. And let's pretend that this is the y-axis. Okay, so now that would be the origin. 0, 0, the point 0, 0, and the origin of the circle. So now here's what they did. Let's say we draw an angle here, alpha, this way. Same thing that we were doing before, an angle alpha here. So let's intersect, let's see. Actually, I might need to make this a line. So let's consider this side of the side of the circle and this angle alpha here. I haven't done anything magic. I just draw an angle alpha and we had the circle. So now if let's say also I draw a line going down from this point going down here. So now, what does that mean you have a unit circle? So when we have a unit circle with the name, as the name entails, is a circle with the radius is 1. So that means the length from going from this to this is 1, from this to this is 1, going from this to all the way out and here is 1. So this whole thing is 1. Let's see, this whole thing right here is 1. Okay. Now, if we know this is 1, so as you can see here, if we drop a line down here, that creates a triangle. You can see this way, this way, this way. That creates a triangle, a right triangle specifically. So we have an angle here, alpha. So what do we do here? We have a right triangle in alpha, the same thing we had here that we were doing. So we can find cosine, sine, and tangent of alpha. So what's the cosine of alpha here? Considering the fact that we're in the first quadrant. So what's the cosine of alpha? Cosine of alpha is, what's cosine? Remember SOHCAHTOA? So, COTOA. Now before we go into finding the cosine and sine, let's remember exactly what those are. So this point here, where this line that we draw arbitrarily across the circle is the point xy. So that means it has the coordinate. So if you take away the circle, if you have a point here, it would be the point xy. So the value of x is this length, that would be x. Going from here to here is x. And going from here to here, that would be y. Same thing. If you're in a circle here, let's say you have the point 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So let's say I have the point here, right here at 3, 2, right? This is the point 3, 2. That means the x value is 3, the y value is 2. So same thing in a unit circle, because this is the circle is centered at the origin, and this is the x and y axis. We have a point here, x, y. So if I go down that way, that's the value of 2, which is the value of y. So that means the value of y going down that way. This length and this length are the same, so we call this y. And then this length that we call, the 3 here, and this length are the same. That means this and this are the same. We'll call this one x. And that's the magic. And after that, everything else is done. So now, and I'm going to ask you guys questions. So let's recap what we did. So we draw a circle, center it at the origin. We have the x-axis and the y-axis. In the first quadrant, we draw a line out, and from that form an angle. When this guy touches the circle, we call that point x and y, just like you would have any point in a Cartesian graph, you call it x and y. So this length here is, if the point was 3, 2, this length here is 3, and then the height is 2. So that means, you know, the run is 3, the height is 2. So here, x height is y. Now, so if you don't understand, please let me know. So what is cosine? What is sine of this angle alpha that we draw here? So what's sine of alpha? Who can tell me what sine of alpha is? Remember, sine is opposite to the angle divided by hypotenuse. This guy in green, I get light blue. This is the hypotenuse. And this is the opposite side. And this is the adjacent side of the angle alpha. So considering the triangle here, one part is red, one part is blue, and then one part is dark blue, one part is light blue. What is the sine of the angle alpha? So let me see who has this question. Sine of alpha. So who got me here? TikTok, come on. What's a parabola? What he did, so yeah, quadratic equation make a parabola. A linear equation doesn't. Okay, so what's sine of alpha? Who can tell me what sine of alpha is? So y divided by hypotenuse, but what would the number be? Okay, equation with angles added. All right, so you on the right track, Maddie Brasp. Y divided by x, no, so it's the input. What you mean by input? Is it the input? No, I'm not even a junior and I need help with math homework. Okay, all right, cool. So let me recap for you guys. So sine we know is opposite divided by hypotenuse. So remember, we are inside of a unit circle. So opposite side would be what? Y is the one in blue, that's opposite. Now I'll give you the hint on the first one. Y divided by the hypotenuse is the one in light blue. So what's the value of the hypotenuse? Who can tell me the value of the hypotenuse? And I'll give you a big shout out. Somebody has a log question. Remember to go XLMENA. Remind me to go over that. Log 10 plus log base 10 of 3x plus 5 is equal to log base 10 of 2. Remind me to go over that. We can solve for it. Okay, so who can tell me what the value of sine of alpha is? Sine of alpha. Let's see. So I'll give you guys the hint. Oh, actually, what's the value of? I'm doing this in school right now, and I'm so lost. Okay, who can tell me what's the value of the hypotenuse is? And I'll give you a big shout out. I already said it. The value of the hypotenuse, the part in light blue. If you don't say it, I'm gonna say it. Nobody? Let's see. YouTube? Nope. TikTok? Nope. All right. So I said it before. Come on. We are inside of a unit circle. The fact that it's a unit circle, that means a circle where the radius is 1. Isn't that the radius going from here out to the circle? That's the radius. That's 1. So that means the hypotenuse is 1. So what's the value of sine of alpha is y divided by 1. What's y divided by 1? It's y. So this side, y is equal to sine of alpha. So now let's go with cosine of alpha. Cosine is adjacent divided by hypotenuse. What's the adjacent side? Is the red piece. That's what the adjacent side is. It's the red piece. Let's call it x. Not the sole length, because that's the radius. It's the red piece. So now what's cosine of alpha? I know you guys can do that for me. Come on. Cosine of alpha. It's the red piece divided by hypotenuse. The red piece is x. The hypotenuse is, let me see who got that. Now, what's the value of cosine of alpha? Come on, y'all. Don't let me down. What's the value of cosine of alpha? TikTok? X divided by 1. There you go, Maddie. There you go. What's x divided by 1? Yes, Abby. That's the 1 is the value of the hypotenuse. That's good. X divided by 1. What's x divided by 1? That's x. Yeah. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, so what we were looking for is the value of cosine of alpha. S, it would be x, which is the adjacent side on here, x, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 1. And I'm deliberately writing them in this column. So x divided by 1 is what? Cosine of alpha is equal to x. And then that's it. Now let's go to tangent. Tangent is, as we said before, is the opposite divided by adjacent. But there's another way to calculate tangent, is sine over cosine. And we're going to find both ways what tangent is equal to. And if you smart, like, let's see who's smart, who can tell me. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to see if you can tell me what tangent of alpha would be in this case. There's the angle alpha. This is the opposite side. This is the adjacent side. Tangent is also sine over cosine. We already found sine. We already found cosine. What's tangent of alpha? Let's see who got me. Y over x. There you go, Shell Brown, 58. That's what's up, Maddie. Brass, that's what's up. Y over x. Yes, that's right. So tangent is the, man, I keep cutting my feet with this chair. So tangent is the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. So the opposite side is y. The adjacent side is x, y over x. Also, tangent is sine over cosine. What's sine of alpha? Sine of alpha, we found it as y. Cosine of alpha, we found it as x, y over x. That's tangent of alpha. Both ways we found tangent of alpha. And that's what mostly what the stuff in the unit circle is. When you're trying to find angles. Now, they can give you stuff to convert radian into degrees. If you want, I can do some of that too. If you want, I can show you how to, put stuff on the unit circle. Let's say they give you like 24 pi over 22 pi over 4. I can show you how to put that on the unit circle. Let's say 150 degrees. I can show you how to put that on the unit circle easily. If you want me to do some of that, let me know. I think the next question somebody asked about. All right, let me know. What do you guys want me to do next? Do you understand this, please? You understand this? Let me see if you guys say yes or no. Oh, thank you, Abby. I appreciate you understand. Okay, Jan understand. Shelby Brown understand. So it seems like everyone mostly understand. If you don't understand, say no, because I could go through this stuff again. Yes. Hana, Banana, Fofana, understand. Yeah. So yeah, this is it. So what else you guys want me to talk about? Come on, let me know what you want me to talk about next. That you don't understand in your class that you want me to talk about. The difference between quadratic and linear equation. 22 pi over 4, Shelby Brown. And scribe quad? What is that, Yang 3 Yang? Higher degree polynomial. Okay, all right. So the difference between a quadratic and a linear equation. So let's see. So I'll remember to drive the 22 pi over 4. I can do that for you too. 22 pi over 4, 22 pi over 4. All right. I'll try and graph that. I'll graph many of them, all the other ones. I'm glad you guys understand. Let's see, YouTube. Yes, me, my question. Oh shoot. I'm gonna do your question after I answer this one. I'm gonna try to do your question in log. Ximena. I'll try to do your question after I answer this one. So the difference between the linear equation and quadratic equation. So linear, as the name entails, it's line. It's gonna be there won't be no up and down shape like this. It will be a line. So either a line this way, it could be a flat line, it could be a vertical line, it could be a line that's going this way. That's what linear equation is. So in the linear equation, because the graph, the equation is linear, so that means when you have y is equal to x plus 5, so that means the degree of the polynomial is going to be a degree, the highest degree possible is a 1. So it can be 0, a degree 0, or a degree 1. So that means you cannot have x squared or x cubed or x to the 4th. The highest one you can get is a x to the first power, which is in this case. So x to the first. And you can also have, the degree could be 0. So like if you have y is equal to 5, that's still, y is equal to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So any x value, y is always equal to 5. So that's still a linear equation. Y is equal to 5. So for any x value, y is equal to 5. X is equal to 0, y is equal to 5. X is equal to 1, y is equal to 5. X is equal to 20, y is equal to 5. So that's a linear equation. X is equal to negative 2. That's also a linear equation. It's also a linear equation. And y is equal to 2x plus 3. That's also a linear equation. Don't confuse the 2 that's in front of the x and the degree of the polynomial. So the degree is whatever is x is raised to. What power is that? That's the first power. It's like having a 1 here. So that's what you're going to find mostly in linear equation. But you can also find, quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, the degree here is 2. So when you start having y, or f of x is equal to x squared, it's quadratic, plus 2x plus 5 is quadratic, x squared minus 5x plus 3, quadratic equation. So when the degree of the polynomial is 2, that's when you have a quadratic. When you have a degree of 1, you have a linear equation, that's 1. So it's going to be a line. It's going to be a line going this way, that way, it doesn't matter. But for quadratic, you're going to have a parabola. So that's the shape. That's the shape that's associated with quadratic. When you're graphing this, it's going to be a parabola. Why is this linear? This one is linear because I know every time I increase x, all I have to do to get a y is multiply by 2 and add a 5. So if I know x is 1, 2 times 1, 2 plus 5, 7. That's the point. If I know x is 0, 2 times 0, 0 plus 5, 5. So that one is going to be linear. You always can tell whatever the next point is going to be. Here, it's not that way. So what's going to happen in this case is going to start going down, and then it's going to go back up. So that's what you're going to have a parabola. So, and also it won't be linear because you have a degree 2 here. Let me know if you understand what that means. So this one is associated with the parabola, and that one is linear as a line. Degree 1 is associated with a line, any line. It could be a line going that way, straight this way, that way. So let me know if you understand the difference between a parabola on a linear equation and a quadratic equation. Let me see. The person who asked the question, do you understand? Yeah, there's all the Trig's functions, but they're derived from the first 3 that we saw earlier. So there's cosecant, cotangent, and secant. So cotangent is 1 over tangent. And then there's secant is 1 over cosine. Cosecant is 1 over sine. It sounds weird, but that's how it is. Yeah, so there's 3 other ones. You're right. We're just going on the first ones. So if I had equation like y equals ns, that would be quadratic. Yes, because the n times n equals x squared. So that was quadratic. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you may explain y spread to me. Y spread? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay, Abby says she understand. All right, cool. All right, now let's move on to a question that I have from YouTube. Log base 10. Are you still here? Zimena on YouTube. Are you still here? Log base 10 plus log base 10 of 3 minus 5 is equal to log base 10 of 2. Zimena, are you still here? If you are, I'm going to answer your question. If you're not, I guess there's no point. If you're not, I'll probably answer another question until I see you pop up. Yes, you say you're here. All right, cool. So let's see how we can solve for this. Log base 10 of, I think you missed it of x. Okay, that's right. Plus, all right, we're going to go slowly on this. Log base 10 of 3x minus 5 is equal to log base 10 of 2. Log base 10 of 2. And then we can verify in the calculator. All right, so now property of logs that we know that we can help with. The first one is log base x of a plus log base x of b is equal to log base x of a times b. And that's the first one that we know. Already know this one. And then, so minus sign would be the same too. So log base x of a plus log base x of b, minus log base x of b is equal to log base x of a over b. And there's another one. So if I have log base x of a raised to the b power is going to be b. I can move the b up front. Log base x of a. And these are properties. So these are stuff that you either going to remember or you're going to remember them and all they're going to say, hey, these are the properties you use. All right, so there's another one that's the change in base. So like, let's say I have log base x, let's say I have log base a of b, which is the same thing as having log, and that's the one that we use in the calculator for the most part, log base x of b divided by log base x of a. So these are properties. So these are not something that, I didn't make this up this morning. These are properties. So they're normally in books and you'll remember them. So let's see how we can apply those to solve for this. So this say log base x of a plus log base x of b. You see the base is the same. Log base x of a. So log base 10 of a. So if we call this a, log base 10 of a plus log base 10 of b, if you call this b, of b is equal to log base 10 of something else. C, let's call it c. So that's what we have here. So log base x of a plus log base x of b. So what does that equal to? So according to this this first property here, if I have log base x of a plus log base x of b, so what that give me is log base x of a times b. So what I'm going to do is a, which is x, multiplied by b, which is 3x minus 5. And that equal to log base 10 of 2. Now, here's the thing. When you have one thing is equal to the other, so you can set these two things equal to each other. You don't even have to worry about the log. The only way that this guy is going to be equal to this guy. This part going to be equal to this part is if whatever is inside the log is if they are equal. So what I'm saying is the only way, if you have log base 10 of x is equal to log base 10 of 7. So what does that mean? What does that mean? I want you to say what does that mean? The second case, the one that I squared. So if I have log base 10 of x is equal to log base 10 of 7, what does that mean? So what does that mean? What's the value of x? Let's see who's gonna answer this. It's simple. What's the value of x? Let's see. TikTok. Emily, can you answer? Emily _ May. Yes. Hannah, banana, banana. That's right. So that means x is equal to 7. Yeah, that's why. So what did you do? You take whatever was inside of this log, you make it equal to whatever was inside of this log. So that means x is equal to 7. X is equal to 7. X is equal to 7. Then it's the same thing we're going to do. Whatever is inside of this, we're going to make that equal to whatever is inside of this. So that means what? X times 3x minus 5 is equal to what? Who can tell me what it's equal to? I'm going to give you a shout out. Let's see. YouTube? Nope. Who can tell me what x is equal to? I mean, what this equation is equal to? 2. That's right. Is KT Parker. It's KT Parker. Oh, it's KT Parker. Good. X is equal to 2. That's right. All right, cool. So yeah, x is equal to 2. Now we're basically solving a quadratic equation. And we can do this very easily. So now we can erase the whole shebang. We can erase everything here. If you're taking a picture of this side, please take it very fast. Okay, we can erase this, screenshot or whatever you want to take. We can erase this. So what we're solving for is x times 3x minus 5, assuming that's what they give you, is equal to 2. Easy. Distribute x, 3x squared minus 5x is equal to 2. Bring the 2 to the other side, or you can say I add -2 to both sides. So what's that? 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. And you solve for that. Zemena, does that make sense? And can you solve for this yourself? Can you solve the quadratic equation yourself? Does that make sense? Can you solve the quadratic equation yourself? Let me know if you can. And if you find a negative number, don't put that in there because actually, we gotta make sure that whatever you find here, when you plug it in here, it needs to be positive. When you plug it inside of the log function, it needs to be positive. If you find a negative number, it cannot be negative. Log of something cannot be negative. So if you find 1, okay, you can solve for it. Oh no, that was the yes from before, I think. Zemena, can you solve for this quadratic equation equal to 0? Can you solve for that? If you cannot, we'll come back to it. We'll solve for it for you. Let me put the equation there. Just in case you cannot solve it. What is it? 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay. All right. So yeah, so that's what you're going to have to end up solving. And if you find any x that's negative, don't put that in your answer because you cannot put negative value inside of the log function. So if you find a positive value and a negative value, just take the positive one. And if you find two negative ones, that means you can't find a solution for it. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got. You mean the excluded value for the expression? So that means what the value that it cannot take? Is that what you mean? Canaveral. And then I want to know if the 4t plus 15 is that inside of a parenthesis. So if the denominator, so the excluded values, I'm assuming you mean what values that it cannot take. Yes. Okay, now I want to know if you have this. I want to know which one of them you have. So is it, I think it's like 4t over 3t plus 15. Is that what you have? Or do you have 4t over 3t plus 15? I'm assuming it's the first one. So is it this one or this one? So this is the first one, second one. Which one of them you have? I'm waiting for your answer. All right, what else you guys want to see? I said I was gonna graph 22 pi over 4. Do you guys want to see how to? Okay, the first one. All right, cool. Do you guys want to see 22 pi over 4? Hi, 39. I know you asked that question. Let me see if if you guys still interested in seeing that. Me put in 22 pi over 4 on the unit circle. And yeah, it's the first one. Okay, so the values that it cannot take, I'm assuming it's you in a function. So the values that, so it'd be easier to get a picture, but this is what I'm assuming. I'm assuming they give you this as a function, like f of t is equal to 4t divided by 3t plus 15. So now the values that it cannot take, what's happening when you have a function like this, the denominator cannot be equal to 0. So what you're going to do is set that denominator equal to 0, and then whatever value it gives you, that's the value it cannot take. So I'm going to set 3t plus 15 as equal to 0. So how do I solve this? Add negative 15 to both sides. And then 3t is equal to negative 15. Divide both sides by 3. T is equal to negative, 1 over 5? Negative 1 over 5. Is that what I'm going to have? 15 divided by 5. Oh, Lord. 15 over 3, negative 5. So if you plug in negative 5 here, that would give you 0. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, plus 15, that would give you 0. It cannot, the function, that's a function that cannot take the value of negative 5, because you cannot have anything over 0. How do you know this? Go in your calculator, type any number over 0. You'll see it won't give you an answer. So that means it's undefined. So it cannot take the value of negative 5. T cannot take the value of negative 5. I'm assuming this is what they ask you. Let me see if you have any questions. Okay. You're welcome, Zimena. If you're not able to solve for this, I can show you how to solve for it too. That's not a problem. I just want to make sure I was guiding you in the right direction. Because if you're not able to solve for this, let me know. If you don't know how to solve for this, I can show you how to solve for it. But remember, when you solve for it, do not include the negative values, because log of something cannot be negative. If you don't believe me, go on your calculator and type log of negative 1. All right, let's see. Okay, what else you guys want to see? Any other questions? I feel like I'm skipping some stuff. What else y'all want to see? Questions? Yes, no, maybe? Do you understand, whoever asked the questions about the function with the t? Let me see, I'm going to go back to your name. Kim Navro. Do you understand? Kim Navro? Yes, no, maybe? You say your son has issues with two-step equation. It's two-step. Hold up, let me see. I'm trying to make sure I can read this. Hold up. All right, cool. That looks a lot better. All right. So let's see. With two-step equation word problem, I would have to see the problem THKHCH. I would have to see the problem. Monomials. What do you want to know about them, please? Find domain and range. What you want to know about monomials? Who asked the question? I think I've seen this question like 45 times. What do you want to know about Megan Klein? Let's see if I can find any questions on YouTube. So, okay, there's no question. All right, so there's no questions for now. Okay, monomials. Let's see. So, the only thing I can tell you is let's see. So the person who asked about monomials. So it's if you think about polynomials, poly means multiple. Polynomials are multiple terms. So that's what multiple terms are. So if you think about monomials, that means it's mono, that means one, a single term. So if you have, let's say you have f of x is equal to 4t, that would be, f of t is equal to 4t, that would be a monomial. Poly would be more than one, so 4t minus 5, 4t squared minus 5t, many terms. So one term, f of t is equal to 3t squared. That's one term. But if you have 3t squared plus 5t minus 5, that would be multiple terms. So monomials and polynomials, one term, poly, multiple. Mono, one term. So it's going to give you only just only one term. Poly, multiple terms. So it could have 3 terms, 4 terms. So when you're counting the terms, so this is a very different, because you cannot, so think about things that you cannot add. So if you have t squared plus t cubed plus t to the 4th, so that 3 different terms, because you cannot add these two. You cannot combine these two any way possible. I mean, you can factor out, but you cannot combine those. Like, it's not like you have 2t plus 3t is equal to 5t. It's not like that. So in this case, you have 3 terms, one here, one here, one here. So that's what the big difference. I'm not sure what you want me to talk about in terms of monomials, but that's what the big difference is. Mono, one, poly, multiple. Let's see. Let me know if you understand the person who asked about monomial. That is fine. All four extra expressions is undefined. That's what is say also say yes. So these are this is the only term for which the expression is undefined. So 4t, this is the expression that you had, 4t divided by 3t minus 15. The only term for which is undefined is -5. So so if I plug in -5 here, so I'm going to have 3 times -5, that would give me -15. Plus this 15, that would give me 0. Undefined, if you have 0 in the denominator, that means the expression is undefined. So you cannot have 0 in the denominator. The value for which it's undefined is t is equal to -5. Yeah. Any other questions? Questions? What do you guys want me to talk about? Yeah, Megan Klein, do you understand? Or did you have a specific issue? All right, let's see. You guys give me some stuff to talk about. Kim Navarro, did that make sense? Thank you. I am Dinosaur00. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, finding domain and range. Okay, so the easiest way I can explain this to you: domain, range. So it may sound easy. For domain, normally you have rules, but usually, what are the x values go from, what are the x values the function can take, range, what are the y values that the function takes. I'll show you. All right, cool. For domains, those rules. For range, you're gonna have to look at the function and see what values it can take. So think about a function as, let's do f of x is equal to 3x. All right, so that's a line. That's a line with the slope of 3 that passes through the point 0, 0. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a different marker. Actually, have a different one. So that sounds like a slope of 1. But that's a line with a slope of 3 that passes through the point 0, 0. So now, when we're thinking about this line, what is the domain of this line? It goes domain, what x values from both sides of the infinity, negative infinity, positive infinity, that it can take. So if we go all the way to the left, it takes everything all the way to the left and also everything all the way to the right. It goes forever on the left, forever on the right. Range, up and down. It goes forever down and forever up. So the domain in this case is negative infinity, infinity, and the range in this case is negative infinity and infinity. Now, domains are rules. The rules that you need to remember is just like the question we just solved below earlier. The rules that you remember: no zeros in the denominator. That's one. The second one you need to remember is no zeros underneath the square root. So these are the two rules we're gonna go. No negative values underneath the square root. You can take 0, but no negative values underneath the square root. And think about anything that you know cannot exist. And if you're inside of a log function, you're gonna say no negative values inside the log function. Anything that you know cannot exist. If you go to your calculator, plug 5 divided by 0, look at your calculator, it's gonna say undefined. It does not exist. So let's say if we change the function. Let's say we change the function. We put. Does that make sense so far? Let me see if that makes sense so far. The domain, the x values, so all the x values that can exist. In this case of the line, it goes all the way to the left, all the way to the right. That means it negative infinity, positive infinity. Range, all the y values that can exist. In this case, it went all the way up. The line went all the way down. Negative infinity, positive infinity. Simple. Let me know if that makes sense so far, and then we'll continue. Does that make sense for you guys? Everyone? Let's see. Specifically, I'm going to... no problem, Cam. Alvera B. Okay, yes, that makes sense, but how do you find it from an equation and word problem? Okay, it depends on the equation, Alvera. So now, here's the thing. When you find when you have an equation, let's say you have an equation x divided by 3x minus 6. What is the domain? Oh, that's not an x. What is the domain in this case? We know from the rules of domains, no zeros in the denominator. So let's see what values that makes that 0. So now I'm going to set that. I want it to not equal to 0. So I'm going to set it because I don't know all the values that are, there's no way you can find all the values that are that are gonna make it not zero, because 1 doesn't make it 0, 15 doesn't make it 0, 300 doesn't make it 0. So what you do is, okay, let's find the easiest way. I set that one equal to 0. So I said 3x minus 6 is equal to 0. That means you add 6 to both sides. 3x is equal to 6. That means x is equal to 6 divided by 3, 2. That's it. X is equal to 2. So now think about, if I plug this 2 here, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. So it doesn't even matter what x is. I'm going to have a 0. I'm going to have a 0 or something over 0. So that doesn't exist. So this function is undefined at x is equal to 2. So what I'm going to have is the domain of the function is all the x values. So all the x values except for x is equal to 2. Except for x is equal to 2. So x such that x is different from 2. You can write it that way. Or you could write it in terms of interval, negative infinity, 2, and then 2 or union or plus 2 positive infinity. So the way you write it this way as intervals is, I'm going to go all the way from negative infinity. When I get to 2, I'm going to stop because it cannot take the value of 2. And then from 2, I'm going to continue. So that gives me 2 different intervals. So most likely the teacher will say all x except for x is equal to 2. That should be fine. You don't even have to do that for the most part. So x such that x is different from 2. So that's the domain. In this case, what we did is we find a way, we see that there is x in the denominator. We say, okay, I don't want no zeros in the denominator. What makes this equal to 0? I said that equal to 0, I found the x value, and I said x is equal to 2. So the 2 makes the x is equal to 0, the function equal to 0, so that means the domain is all the x value except for that 2. Does that make sense? And we're going to move on to another one, to another case that has square root. So does that make sense? Let's see. That makes sense for you guys? Do you understand? Write equation to determine length of rectangle. It's probably easier to, like, if you are more specific, I could probably, okay. Oh, okay. I see. Perimeter of a rectangle is 35 units. The width is, okay, we can do that. Hold on, let me see if I can answer. Yes, that makes sense, but how do you find it from a word problem? It depends on the word problem. Let's see if that makes sense. All right. Do you understand, what's his name? The person who asked the question. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Who asked the question? Do you understand the domain so far? You guys understand? Okay, yeah, I'm THKHCH. I'm gonna try to work on your problem. I was trying to find this. Okay, you understand the domain so far? Yeah, good. All right, so now the other case that you might run into is this, a square root. We all know that square root cannot be negative. It cannot be negative. If you go on your calculator, try to find the square root of -1. Let's see, I'll show you. I have a calculator just like yours. There's nothing complicated about mine. Square root of -1, I just put that in there. I'll show you. And if I push enter, domain error. So that means this thing don't exist. It doesn't exist. So what I need to do is find all the values for which this thing is greater than 0. So I'm going to solve x minus 7 greater than 0. Greater than or equal to 0, because the square root of 0 exists. So if you go in your calculator and say square root of 0, it's going to give you 0. So I'm going to make sure that this is always greater than or equal to 0. So I add 7 to both sides. You know how to solve inequality. I add 7 to both sides. X is greater than or equal to 7. So now, this is good. X is greater than or equal to 7. So, which is, if you write in this in terms of intervals, 7, infinity. So X is greater than or equal to 7. That's the solution that I'm looking for. So that means this function, if I call this a function f of x, can take any value of x that are greater than or equal to 7. 7 included. 7 minus 7 is 0. Square root of 0 that exists. Yes, I'm good. 8. 8 minus 7, 1. Square root of 1 that exists. 12, 15, 17.2. All of those values all the way to the right of 7. Now, as soon as I put the negative and like a value of 0 here, that doesn't exist. That give me square root of negative 7. That doesn't exist. I mean, does not exist. Undefined, I mean undefined in the real numbers. So now this can have, they can give you multiple stuff. If they can give you x divided by square root of this. So now you not only want to make sure that this is greater than 0, but you also greater than or equal to 0, but you also want to make sure it's not 0 too. So that means you're going to make sure if that's in the denominator, you're going to make sure that it's greater than 0, strictly greater than 0, because it cannot equal to 0 because it's in the denominator. So it's not something that you can explain like that. Each case, I would have to see the word problem that you're specifically working on, because each case have their own thing. You look at it and say, okay, is it a x in the denominator? That's how you solve it. Is it square root? That's how you solve it. So each one have a specific case. So if you could have a quadratic in the denominator, you just set that equal to 0. But let me know if that makes sense, and then I'm gonna answer your question. A question about your son about the rectangle. Let's see. I think you have a rectangle. The length is, what's the length and the width? In case I'm not able to go back to the comment. So, and then they say the right. So the perimeter is, so let's see. Let me see if I had. Unique name. Thank you for the panda. All right. Thank you. No problem. Job Ray 33. It's practice, man. If you want to increase your SAT math score, it's practice. You got to do them, because otherwise you won't be able to do them in the actual exams. Okay. The perimeter of a rectangle is 34 unit. The width is 6.5 unit. Write an equation to determine the length of the rectangle. 34, perimeter of 34, width is 6.5. Okay. Perimeter is 34. 34. And let me know if I get those numbers right too. Width is 6.5. Width 6.5. Okay. Now, this is the length. This is the width. Is equal to 6.5. And then we know the perimeter is 34. Now, what is the perimeter? Perimeter means, kind of all around. So when you calculate the perimeter, you find it's circumference. So what you do is you add this guy plus this guy plus this guy plus this guy. So you get this length plus this length plus that length plus that length. That will give me this perimeter. So whatever I have here, the length that's here is this length. The width here is this width. So in a rectangle, the width is the same on both sides. The length is the same on, the side opposite to the length is the same of it. But, I mean, I'm saying something simple. So if you have a rectangle, this side is equal to this side, that's opposite to it. This side is equal to this side. So what's the perimeter of a rectangle? In that case, the perimeter of the rectangle is 2 length plus width, right? Am I making sense? Let me know if I'm making sense. So the perimeter of the rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. And then we're almost there. Let me know if I'm making sense so far. Let me see. Am I making sense? Do you guys understand? That's what I want to know. What did I miss? Nothing. B Sarah 28. If you have any questions, you can ask. I TK. I forgot the name. Do you guys understand so far? Yes. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Now, yeah. So we know the perimeter is two times the length plus 2 times the width. We have the width. We have the perimeter. We just need the length. Okay. The perimeter is 34. I'm gonna put the numbers first so you understand I'm not doing any magic. 2 times the length plus what's the width? 6.5. 2 times 6.5. 6.5 is times 2 is 13. Plus 2 times the length. Now they ask us to write an equation. Now let me solve for this first, and then I'll write an equation in numbers, in letters, so you understand. So I replaced 34 by itself. Perimeter was 34. This is the whole formula: 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Perimeter was 34. I replaced the 34 by itself. The width is 6.5. I replaced the 6.5 here. So 2 times the length plus 2 times 6.5. 2 times 6.5 is 13. So I have 34, 2 times the length, 2 times 6.5. So I want the L to be by itself. I'm solving for L. So it's 34 minus 13 on both sides. Let's just subtract 13 on both sides. That 13 minus 13 is gone. So then 2 times the length is equal to what? 2L is equal to 34 minus 13, right? What's 34 minus 13? 6.5 times 2 is 13, 21. L is equal to 2L is equal to 21. I divide both sides by 2. L is equal to 10.5, right? 10.5. And if you want to verify, 10.5 times 2, so you say 2 times 10.5 plus 2 times 6.5. That should give you 34. Now, they could ask you to solve for L. You can solve for L that way. The other way you can do it, you can say, hey, okay, I'm not going to use number until I'm done. I'm ready to use numbers. So what you can say is that perimeter is 2 times the length, just 2 times the width. So what I could say is P is equal to 2 times length plus width. So I divide both sides by 2. P over 2 is equal to, I divide this guy by 2 too. That 2 is gone. So I divide this side by 2 and this side by 2. So P over 2, that 2 is canceled, is equal to L plus width. So what I can say, the L is equal to P over 2. So now I'm going to subtract width from both sides. Let me erase this. I'm going to subtract width from both sides, subtract W from both sides. Take away W here, take away W here. So what I have is P over 2 minus W is equal to, this W is gone, L. So I have the equation L is equal to P over 2 minus W. Now, how do you solve for it? P over 2, 34 over 2, minus W, which is 6.5. L is what? Same thing. It should be 10.5. 34 divided by 2 is 17. 17 minus 6.5 is 10.5. So either way you slice it, L is equal to 10.5. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Do you guys understand? If you don't understand, please let me know. I will gladly do it again. Does that make sense? Especially the person who asked the question. Please let me know if that makes sense. Does that make sense, guys? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps. All right, any other questions? What do you guys want me to answer? Let's see. Makes sense. Cool. B Sarah 28, thank you. Is that perimeter the same for everything? No. Perimeter varies for each shape. So perimeter is circumference. So that means, okay, yes, that's helpful. Thank you. But I'll be confused on the next problem. If you have a question, you could probably I have a number that you can send them to before, and then I can come here and help you solve them. The number is 904-299-8417. You guys can text it to the group call. 904. Actually, I'll put it here. So when you have questions like that, you can send them here, and then I'll solve them beforehand. And if I don't, I'll just answer them here. 904. That's a 4. 299-8417. So text. It's a text number. So when you text me, I'll probably I'll enter them here when I come back here. So the best way to study for the math, okay, it depends how you study. So I would answer this. So it depends how you study. You can, some of us, like me, I like videos. I can sit and watch, hours of videos and then understand stuff. But some people, they're like textbook. So what I would do is, if you prefer videos, I would say, watch videos on AC, people solving problems on ACT and SAT math problems. If you prefer textbook, I would go on in textbook. Princeton Reviews they do textbook on ACT and SAT. I use their stuff sometimes. And then you will go on it and then see how they solve for it. I have on my YouTube channel, I probably have over 100 videos on ACT and SAT. I have 200 more to upload, and I'm uploading them as I go. I still have them on my phone to upload. So if you like videos, you can go on there. You can watch videos. Khan Academy does a good job too. You can go on their stuff, go on their SAT section, and then just solve for that. Now it depends. Just look at them. But the best thing you can do is, if you're studying for something, you gotta practice. If you don't, think about, if you play sports, if you never practice, you go on the field, it's not gonna go well. It's not gonna go well for you. So if you just like the ACT and SAT, when you're about to go to this exam, you gotta practice. You gotta know exactly what's gonna go on, because you time. Like if I know the only way I'll know the fastest way to solve for this is if I solve it multiple times. I'm like, all right, this takes me 2 seconds, 20 seconds. This one takes me 2 minutes and a half. So that's the only way you'll be able to do it. The best thing to do is practice. If you don't know the material already, go do some review, either via books or videos, and then the best thing to do is practice. That's the only way I used to study for stuff. I used to study for some crazy exams. That's the only way I used to, you look at it, I watch the videos, and then eventually you start practicing. And then when you watch the video, it's gonna make sense. You're like, oh, this is how you solve it. But when you actually go solve it yourself, it's a different scenario. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know what else I can answer for you guys. What else? No problem. B. Sarah. Any other questions? Yeah, you were saying for math tests in general. So it applies to any math test. So whatever you just practice. That's what makes the most sense. You just gotta practice. That's the only way. Now, if you don't practice, it's gonna be hard. Any questions? Yeah, B. Sarah, this is not perimeter is very for different. I bet I was about to text him. So perimeter is very for the from shape to shape. So let's say I have a. So if I have a circle, perimeter is all the way around circumference. The perimeter of the circle is what? So what they're figuring out is the perimeter is 2 times a number that they call pi multiplied by the radius. So that's the perimeter of the circle. But if I have a square, it's a different thing. So the perimeter is circumference. So whatever is here they added, it's kind of hard for you to see it here, but they added, go all the way the length of all this. So think about if you had something that is circle and then unfold it, that's what the perimeter will give you the length of 2 pi r, with r being the radius of the circle. Now if you have a square, all these sides are equal to each other. So it's the side S, this S, plus this S, plus this S. Remember, perimeter is going all the way around and add them together. So that would give you 4S. So for the circle, it's 4 times S. For the triangle, is whatever side you had. It doesn't matter what the shape of this triangle is. It's this side. Let's say if I call it ABC, it's AB plus BC plus AC. Add them up. That's what the perimeter is. Perimeter is like adding the outside, the side of, the length of the outside side. In a circle, it's a little bit harder to see. But if you do that, if you did an experiment and had a circle, and then you fold it into a line, make it, long. So let's say I cut this open, and then I have this here, and then length here. I measure this length, it's going to be 2 times pi times the radius. You just add them up. You just add the outside sides up. Here it's not easy because circle is like, round. You can't really measure them and add them. But when you do this, it's 2 pi r. This is 4 times the side, and this is the length of all the sides. And then for rectangle, like we said before, is length plus width, and you multiply the whole thing by 2. All right, any other questions before I go, guys? All right, let's see. Yeah. Kim Possible _2, thank you. I'm glad that you can learn some stuff here. All right, guys. No problem. I'm glad I could be helpful. Let's see. Okay. I think we are about done. Thank you guys for coming out. We are about done. I don't know if I have any other questions. If I'm taking pre-calc, no, I'm not. I'm not in school currently. He said I'm tired. Yeah, I'm about to go. I'm about to go to sleep. Do you guys have any questions before I go? Are you taking any math questions? I was okay. Taking sine over cosine questions. Sine over cosine is tangent. Appreciate it, Kim Possible. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, send them to 904 Shell Brown 58. Please send your question. Text me your question. I text a question, but I don't know if it was too late. I probably won't be able to look at it right now because that would mean me going on the app and look at it. But I think I saw a notification for text coming in. So text me your question for 904-299-8417. And what's going to happen is when I come back next time, and I'll start with that questions. So I like Michael. I don't know if I'm necessarily good at math, but I just do it a lot. And then when you do stuff a lot, you remember. And it's like with anything. It could be sports. I'm sure there's stuff that you're good at. It could be playing video games. It could be anything. You just got to do them a lot. Michael Shepard, Shepherd. Yeah. So you just gotta do them a lot until you can. Can we switch brand? I don't know. You probably have more skills than me. I don't know. I could probably take yours. You're probably better at arts or other things that I'm not good at, like maybe playing music, stuff like that. I could use yours, but anything you just gotta do it, be able to do them all the time. Long division. We can do some of that next time. Actually, we can do some of that next time. If you have a specific question, text it to 904-299-8417. When is the next live? It's every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, same time, same place. I'm gonna try to see if I can start some of them like a little earlier. So I'm gonna see how to start a little bit earlier so we can go for a longer period of time. Every night. No, probably not every night. Probably not every night. But I'm gonna try to see if I can start the Tuesday nights like a little bit earlier, like 9 o'clock. So that way we have like, at least like 2 or 3 hours together. That way I'll answer a lot of questions from you. Which is good. Let me see you guys on YouTube have any other questions. Yes, no, maybe. Zamana, any questions? David? Y'all bored, Chris? All right, guys. I think this is it. Are you able to tutor in small groups? Yeah, I tutor people one-on-one. If you go on my account, you'll see the link to the site. I tutor people one-on-one. And I don't do a whole lot of small group, but I tutor people one-on-one. I find it, easy. And I'm also coming out with some. I'm on Eastern time, so New York time. So that's East Coast, Miami. So, yeah, I'm on Eastern time. How do you do trigonometry? Kaylin, if you have a specific question, send it to me to 904-299-8417. And next time we can talk about it. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. Yeah, probably. And thank you. I appreciate you. You have a good night as well. Fenton Ugly. Omar Zebra 904. Omar, are you in Jacksonville? Yeah, that's it for me, guys, and I will catch you guys later. And it was nice. It was nice talking to y'all. And any other questions, text them to 904-299-8417, and we'll see you guys live again on Tuesday. I'm gonna do my best to to start earlier so I can answer more questions. And thank you guys. Peace. College right now. So